The Nuna, a species by Marla Simmers, aka Theodgondia. The Nuna, Homo stellivarius, are a spacefaring species of parahuman native to the northern side of the M81 galaxy. Their society has existed for 200,000 years, and they control around 4,000 star systems in their part of the galaxy. Their civilization is called the Nuna conglomerate, and they have close relationships with many other species. 200,000 years ago, there was a species of parahuman called the Knoll. They had red hair, pointed ears, grey skin, and blue-green eyes, and lived on a planet called Walleen. They had a relatively advanced society, but due to a supervolcano eruption, they had to leave the planet. Due to the sun being blocked out of the sky, their planet became uninhabitable, so they went to search for a new one. Unfortunately, most of the other habitable planets already had other species of parahuman living there, so the Knolls created space, habitats to live in that orbited a red dwarf star, which they harvested energy from. However, the Enols' biology was not suited to living in space, and they had short lives full of illness. Over the generations, things had to change, so the Knolls gathered the genetic material of hundreds of parahuman species and created a new species called the Nuna, meaning different and new, but still the same inside, in the Knoll language. These Nuna resembled very average humans, as they were hybrids of hundreds of species. The Nuna have a special purple pigment in their eyes, which protects their eyes from the radiation of space. They also have dark skin, for the same reason. Eventually, the Nuna got so advanced that they invented technologies like the quantum transporter, which allowed them to teleport to all their settlements around all the 4,000 stars they colonized through quantum entanglement. They also invented a new kind of FTL, which involved speeding up the speed of light within a bubble around a spacecraft by manipulating mass instead of causing space to expand and contract with electromagnetism, like the Gondia and Vendala FTL systems do. Nuna biological facts. All Nuna have bright purple eyes. This is due to a pigment in their eyes that protects them from the harmful rays of space. All Nuna have dark skin. This is because their skin needs protection when they are exposed to the rays of space during spacewalks. The Nuna can live to be 400 years old. The Nuna are on average more intelligent than Homo sapiens. The Nuna are capable of withstanding extremely high levels of radiation. Due to being hybrids of hundreds of parahuman species, the Nuna are the most genetically diverse parahuman species in the galaxy, and as such, they are resistant to pandemics. The Nuna can survive 5 minutes of exposure to the vacuum of space. Nuna are able to hold their breath for 20 minutes. Unlike their Homo sapien cousins, parahumans still have the genes for whiskers, merely turned off, and a side effect of the genetic manipulated nature of the Nuna means, in rare cases, the genes for whiskers can be spontaneously turned back on at any point in their lives. And if this happens, they will grow vibrissae, and it's commonly called whisker disease, and the Nuna find it very embarrassing, and it can only be corrected with surgery. The purple eyes of the Nuna are a dominant gene, so the offspring of a Nuna and another parahuman species will almost always have the purple eye pigment. Nuna hair grows extremely fast, and to keep their hair short, they need to cut it once, every 2 to 3 days, otherwise it can get very long. Due to being the product of genetic engineering, rather than natural selection, the Nuna are some of the most beautiful of the human species in the M81 galaxy. The Nuna are a post-scarcity egalitarian society with a large focus on exploration and scientific advancement. They have 4,000 star systems under their control, and they are roughly a Type 2 civilization. Individual Nuna can choose to pursue whatever interests they have, and money no longer exists in their society, but it is generally looked down upon for a Nuna to do nothing with their lives. And if a Nuna is not pursuing something with their lives, it's assumed that there is some problem in their lives, like mental illness. The Nuna, however, intrusively annex other parahuman societies into their empire, as they believe that doing this is ultimately in the other parahuman species' best interest. However, this often leads to the degradation and even loss of the parahuman species' culture and way of life, as their culture is replaced by Nuna-type society. Additionally, in Nuna society, uplifted parahuman species are often seen as lesser than Nuna. They aren't denied rights, and they are equal under the law, but they are often treated as lesser on an interpersonal, academic level, and are often seen as less evolved. Gender is not really a thing in Nuna society. They see sex, similar to how we see hair color or eye color, as just an arbitrary morphological trait that doesn't have any real social roles associated with it. While they don't have gender, they have other social constructs, such as animal type, in which people are grouped into groups based on what kind of animal their personality is. Like, there are many accepted animals, and each animal type has certain social norms and ways of dress and behavior. This evolved from ancient beliefs about people having animal spirits that guide them. Also, people who have an animal type that's a predator are higher on the social hierarchy than people whose animal type is a prey animal, and people who are prey animals are expected to submit to those who are predators. Nuna language sounds similar to ancient Greek. However, its sentence structure is more like Chinese, and the Nuna accent sounds Australian, and their writing system looks like ancient Egyptian. The Nuna also have a superiority complex over other parahuman species and see themselves as the benevolent saviors of the species they annex into their empire. Since the Nuna live on space stations, they don't have day-night cycles, and because of this, they don't have a concept of day or night. They know that on planets, sometimes there is light, and sometimes it's dark, due to which side is facing the system's star. But they don't really think of this the way we do, and they usually sleep for 2 hours between blocks of 4-hour activity. They would be awake for 4 hours, go to sleep for 2, then get up again for 4 hours. Bisexuality is considered the norm in Nuna society, as they don't have the social categorization of gender. However, heterosexuality, homosexuality does exist, but it's seen the same way we would. Think of someone being attracted to arbitrary features, like a man who likes blondes, or a woman liking chubby men, etc. Additionally, monogamy is seen as odd, and polyamory is the social norm. The Nuna don't have the nuclear family and instead raise their children collectively. Nuna society is organized into clans, which live in individual sectors of large space stations, and children of the clan are raised by the whole clan instead of just the people who made them. Some of the species uplifted and annexed by the Nuna include the Boreans, a Neanderthal-like parahuman species from a planet where the equator is the only habitable area, the rest of the planet being covered in ice. The Boreans previously had a very conservative culture and are often derogatorily called flatheads by the Nuna, as well as other parahuman species. The Pacune, a herbivorous monkey-like parahuman species with a hedonistic lifestyle. Similar to bonobos, they're scientific Name is Homo mandrillimimus. They are from a planet with vast jungles and swamps, and a climate similar to Earth's Carboniferous period. The Durans, a human-like parahuman species with light skin, green-blue eyes, and blonde-red hair, who were in a medieval state of development. Before the Nuna arrived, they come from the planet Charis, which is a planet very close to Pleistocene Earth. And this is the end of the presentation. There are more Nuna facts on the Project Pandemonium wiki.